Almost every baby boomer can trace their origins and cultural roots overseas. 56-year-old chartered accountant Bhupen Gulabdas migrated to Australia from Fiji in 1988. He has always maintained a strong connection to his Hindu religion and Indian culture, and travels to India at least once a year.
It gives you a different perspective of life. It tells you how lucky we are when we're in this country, when we go to those countries and see how they live, how they practice their faith. It's very important that you understand the culture and where you've come from.
Mr. Gulabdas is part of a trend amongst migrant baby boomers who travel almost exclusively to their country of origin to reconnect with their culture or sometimes to visit family overseas.
I mean, I've traveled to Europe as well, but only to visit because my wife's brother is in London. So we went to London, for instance. We've been to US because we've got relatives there. So the reasons we've all only went to these countries is because there were some relatives that we wanted to visit. And that's what probably drives most of our travels.
According to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, the number of short-term overseas departures has more than doubled since 2002, with Asian countries making up a large portion of the preferred destinations. Specialist travel agencies like Hyderabad Travels and Parramatta depends on these subcontinent markets and has profited well from a migrant customer base.
We can see a lot of Indians coming in, more migrating into Australia, and we see the difference every year. There's an increase of like about maybe 30% more in our sales. They like to go back to their countries, and their children are grown up here, so they wanted to visit their family, their older parents, and a lot of their friends as well.
Miss Reddy even said bigger and more well-known travel agencies like Flight Centre offer little competition to Hyderabad Travels.
We have more volume comparatively to Flight Centre, even though it's bigger. We have more volume in point-to-point sale, especially in the Indian subcontinent. So sometimes they don't even compete with us in the price. So we are cheaper comparatively. So people prefer us again.
Baby boomers like Mr. Gulabdas and their assured desire to travel are an important part of these specialist travel agents.
There are lots of Indians from our temple, for instance, who regularly, they make it a point to travel to India at least once a year. I think that's just a normal practice of all Indians, basically, and even for people like my age group, they would do that all the time.
In fact, rather than having a quick holiday, migrant baby boomers prefer to stay overseas for a much longer period of time, sometimes as long as half a year.
They stay longer. They go and they don't come back within a month. They may stay for 6 months, 1 year, but they come back.
Miss Reddy feels baby boomers want the best of both worlds, here in Australia and back in their home country.
The older they get, the longer they want to be in their own country, and again they come back here. Because that's just because they have plenty of facilities here. They have old age pension, they're getting everything here. So they don't want to lose this as well.
This is a baby boomer trend that Mr. Gulabdas says exists beyond just the Indian community.
I think there are some community, for instance, where they retire in their own country. So they go back to, say, for instance, Greece. People go back to Greece and retire there. Italians do that. They came in the 50s and 60s or 70s. These people are also going back and spending long periods of time there. Maybe not permanently, but definitely they go back there.
Jay Pandya, Baby Zoomers Magazine.